This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Carinthia. But before that, this video is brought to you by Big Joe Mammoth and Diablo del Toro. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Carinthia map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Hello and welcome to Carinthia. I hope you have fun. Welcome to the map of Carinthia. This map is from my home country of Austria. On the map you will find 115 fields and meadows, 12 forest areas in large to small split sections. You also find a quaint village with farmers market where you can sell products from the farming and productions, a biogas plant, in supermarket, agricultural trade, fish farm, sawmill were installed as productions and selling locations. In addition, there are 2 building sites are prepared for free disposal. Interesting. Also, a contracting company. As a player, you'll get started in a courtyard with 2 fields and various vehicles and machines. Stables for horses, cows, pigs, and chickens are also installed on the farm. Stable for sheep and cow pasture are located just outside of the main farm. You can also take water from the lakes and rivers. Now, this map does have several required mods, and specifically 2 of them are not listed on the main download page, but they will pop up if you do not have them already installed. So in addition to the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps, which is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming, we're also going to be using the bunker silo roof. Then we also have the diesel production. We have forestry sell point, German fire station, homestead pig barn, Landsberg farm, lime factory, modernized flour mill, pallet factory, small garden, and Trillian dairy. Now, I'll tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, the main farm is built out exactly how you're going to see it here in new farm mode. In addition, you do have starting machinery in all play modes. Now, something else that we are going to see is if you happen to own the hay and forage pack, you're also going to have a bonus piece of machinery in your starting fleet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Now, this is a standard size map with a whole lot of fields, but the fields are fairly small overall. We do have all our standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22 available on this particular map. And if we go ahead and take a look at our lands area, you'll see we start by owning Farmland ID 140. That is the main starting farm. In addition, we own Farmland ID 54, 29, 1, and 3. Now, this map has 9 apple trees that are available as productions, but you must buy the land in order to use those. And those apple trees are going to be located where we have very, very small viable land points. So, for example, here we have 172, 73, and 74. They are purchasable for $1,300, $1,200, and $768 respectively. They are apple trees. We also have apple trees over here to the east in 171, 170, 178, 177, 176, and 175. We have 3 greenhouses located at 162, 63, and 64. And then a banquet of other areas. We've got the contractor yard down here located at Farmland ID 160. And we have a BGA at Farmland ID 145 as well, viable for $51,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, and lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. We're going to then be able to take this listing and cross-reference it with the field calculator listing, which is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Now, as we can see here, our farmlands and our fields are matching up fairly well, 1-to-1, which is going to be very, very easy, because then we can just figure out what field number we have, then come over here and compare it with respect to our farmlands to see how large or how much that land is going to cost. Overall, the fields are going to be somewhere between 1.5 hectares and less. We do have a few larger ones here. Field 59, 7.28, and field 60 at 5.74 hectares. But overall, the vast majority of these fields are going to be 1.5 hectares or less. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have the standard base game crop counter available to us on this particular map. And if we take a look down through our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that are available to us in FS22. In addition, we have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we continue down through our listing of base game production items, we once again do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game production items that are included in the base game. Something else to note, we do not have the ability to buy bulk lime, but we do have the ability to get rid of our stones at the lime factory. Now here we have our apples. So we have multiple sell points for the apples at those 9 apple tree locations. Now if we do wish to put down our platinum expansion productions, well, do note there are no sell points available for the platinum expansion productions, so you also have to put that down as well. If you are playing with pumps and hoses, you do have the ability to get rid of your separated manure. Then we also have fishes as an output, as well as pallets. Taking a look at our vehicle overview, we do have a decent listing of starting machinery. All of it is new, none of it is leased. We have chicken pasture, we have a cow area, we have a pig, sheep, and horse farm, all at the main starting farm. We start out with contracts available, and we have 2 small greenhouses, not small greenhouses, 2 small gardens available at the main starting farm. Now, I am not familiar with this particular small garden mod, and I've tried to figure out what the garden substrate is, and I have not been able to figure that out. It doesn't appear to be something you can buy in the shop, and it does not appear to be something that you can produce. So I'd love to know down in the comments below what makes up garden substrate, because it's going to be needed for all of your various vegetables and fruits. Then we have our biogas plant here. We also own that at the start, and this map also does not have any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how our precision farming soil map is being applied to these fields. This map is making use of the generic soil map. And here we are at our starting point. Now, you have been hearing these ducks go on and on and on and on during the whole intro of the video here. But our career start point is right up here, kind of on the hill's edge. This is a rather hilly map. Lots of terrain changes, lots of fields on inclines. So one thing I would suggest is boosting your horsepower. So if you typically need, let's say, 100 horsepower for your implement, well, it would probably be a good idea to have at least 150 horsepower to pull that implement, because you are going to have to be working up against the land in order to get around. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We're going to start out with the New Holland T6 125 small tractor, the Steyr 8150 small tractor, and then again, if we own the hay and forage pack, we're going to have the Reform H75. We have the Topliner 4090H harvester that's going to be paired up with the 4090H grain header as well as header trailer. We have the Welger DK115 trailer. We also have the Pottinger Servo 25 plow, the Amazon KG 3001 Super Power Harrow. Then we have paired up with that the Carinthia 3000 Super Seeder. We have the Amazon ZATS 3200 Fertilized Spreader. We have the F240 Front Mower. We have the Alpine Hit 4.4H Tedder, as well as the Top 342 windrower. We have the Boss Alpine 251 forage wagon, the Hauer XB 190 front loader arms. For the front loader arms, we have the universal bucket, and that is going to round out our starting fleet. Take a look at our mods and DLCs page. You do see that we do have the diesel production pack, which is one of the required mods. And in that production pack, we do have 2 modified trailers in the MKS 8 and the MKS 32. Now, I did mention a little bit earlier about these small gardens and me not really knowing what that one particular substrate fill type was. If it was buyable in the shop, then we should see it listed here in the mods and DLC section, and we just do not. Now, I thought it might be fun just to kind of take a little run down the road here over to our starting farm. Which is located right here. And right here to the left, we have our chickens. So we have our egg spawn point. We can have 80 chickens in this coop. And then we have our food trough. To the right of our farm entrance, we have fuel. And then we have a hayloft and a farm silo. This is our farm silo. We have our dump point and our fill point. We have our fuel point there. Then we have our hayloft located right here. So we have our dump point. And of course, our fill point is inside the middle. Up on the hill here, we have some of our starting machinery, including the reform from the hay and forage pack. We have our pig pasture. Just 10 pigs are going to be available in here. Our food. We have our water. Here we have our slurry fill point. Now this I thought was really slick. This is a custom bale and pallet storage, or I guess I should say just bale storage. 350 bales. So this is where we're going to come to deliver our bales. Our bales are going to visually stack over here in this section. And then we're going to be able to spawn our bales out as well. We have our sheep barn. 40 sheep in here. For our dump point, we have our water point and our wool spawn point. We have a manure heap. And we have a horse pasture, a cow pasture. So we have our milk, we have our food, we have our water, we have our delivery point. 45 total cows there. We have our farmhouse with our sleep and wardrobe triggers. And then attached to the farmhouse, well, we have another cow area with 45 cows available. So we have our food area here. Feeding. Wonderfully marked. Manure. It's going to be inside of here. We have our slurry point. We have our milk trigger as well. Like when we have buildings that have multiple levels. So above here, right, we can get our bales up there. We could store bales up there if we wanted to. Then we have our straw point and our 5 point there. And that is basically the main starting farm. Now, I do have to tell you that I did try to sell most of the things here on the farm, and I was successful in selling most of those things, but there are a few things that will remain. One of the biggest items that's going to remain is this shed located right here. For whatever reason, no matter what I tried to do, I could not get rid of this particular shed. In addition, there was some deco elements, like this barrel, that I could not get rid of. These firewood racks, as well as these logs, stacks of logs. Those could not go away, but I did have the ability to sell all of the buildings, the fences, and other things here at the main starting farm area. So as far as the farms being customizable, I'm going to be giving the map kind of 3/4 of a point. Let's go ahead and take a look at build mode. We do have several required mods, so there are going to be several things that are going to be available here in the build mode. Specifically under sheds, we have the bunker silo with roof. Under silos, we have our custom bale storage. We have our custom farm silo barn, modified hayloft, bunker silo with roof, and then our manure heap. Then we have our custom farmhouse. Under production, we do have some modified production. We have the BGA. We have the the fish farming. We have our apple trees, and the apple trees are individually placed. They're going to accept manure and water, and we're going to get apples out of that. We also have some additional production items that are part of the various required mods. The diesel factory, modernized flour mill, lime factory, pallet factory, and the Tyrolean dairy. Our sell points, we do have a diesel sell point, as well as a pallet factory sell point, and a forestry sell point that are included with the map. Here we have our small garden under the greenhouses. Under the animal areas, we do have several areas where we do have modified animal pens. Then under landscaping, we do have actually a fair bit of ground textures. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. We have our animal mud, our asphalt, concrete, another form of concrete. Let's just go down the concrete chain here. We're going to have several of these various iterations. We have our dirt, and we're back to more concrete. We never have enough forest ground. We have our grass, gravel. We have kind of some cobblestone listed as concrete, stamped concrete of various types, lattice work concrete, more cobblestone options, rock, wet sand, which looks an awful lot like gravel here. We have our standard trees, and then we have fairly standard plants also. Let's go over here and take a look at these. Pretty nice looking ground textures. They give you lots of options with respect to wanting to kind of customize or build out an area. This one's kind of shiny. We have our grass, we have our forestry ground. Some of these were concrete. We have our dirt. This was listed as wet sand, but it looks an awful like just regular old gravel. We have our rock. cobblestones. We have that lattice work concrete. And then various stamped concrete. Kind of concrete pavers going on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the custom production that is a part of the map. We have 5 small greenhouses available on the map. 2 that we own at the start. Again, they're going to require garden substrate, water, seed, solid fertilizer, or manure, and straw. And they're going to produce lettuce, tomatoes, and strawberries. We have our biogas plant. We have our standard sawmill, our bakery. Fairly standard there. We have our dairy. Again, fairly standard dairy, carpentry, spinnery. And then we get into the modernized flour mill. And this is where things get a little interesting. So we have wheat, barley, oat, sorghum, corn, canola, sunflower, and soybean flour. And all of those are going to take fuel and then our grain of choice. And we're basically going to get flour, chaff, stone, and pig food as outputs of various ratios through all of those. And then we're going to be able to make bread with diesel and flour. And then we have lots of cake options. And this is where it really gets a little confusing. So we have fuel, flour, sugar, milk, eggs, butter, and strawberries to make 30 cakes. Or how about we just do fuel and flour and make cakes? Why don't we just make sugar cakes with fuel and sugar? Or milk cakes with fuel and milk? Egg cakes? How about butter cakes? Or my personal favorite, strawberry cakes with fuel and strawberry. Then we have our flour again, but instead of using diesel, well, we're able to use electric charge and our grain, and we're going to get the same flour, chaff, stone, and pig food. Or let's use energy and flour to make our bread. Or, again, all of these recipes, again, instead of using diesel fuel, using electrical energy. Well, you know what? If I can use fuel or I can use energy, why not methane gas? So then we have the ability to do all of our flour options with methane gas, our bread, and all of our cake iterations with methane gas. Quite an interesting production here. Then we have our dairy, which is going to be milk and dairy. Our diesel factory, which is going to be sunflower, canola, and soybean to make diesel fuel. Fish farming is going to require corn, mineral feed, wheat, potatoes, and barley in order to get fishes. Our pallet factory is going to take logs and make pallets and wood chips. Then we have a fairly standard tailor shop. Our lime factory is going to take stones and output lime. Then we have our 3 gardens again. Let's gain a little bit of altitude and just take a look around. I have to say, this map is stunningly beautiful. You might find yourself just wanting to drive around this map just to kind of experience the sights and the sounds. As you can see, we've got lots of smaller fields. A lot of these fields can be easily merged into one larger field, given the way that all of these are laid out. Again, these fields are rather hilly, so you will want to upsize your vehicles with respect to the implement horsepower requirements. Over here, just out of the main farm, and this is on land that we do own. Here we have the horse area, 5 horses. So this is land we own at the start. Just kind of removed a little bit from the starting farm, which is located right there. And again, our career start point is a bit down the road and just kind of overlooking that part of the map. Now, interesting enough, deep within this forest, we have the dairy. You kind of think that you'd have your sawmill deep within the forest, but no, we have our dairy hidden away deep in the forest, kind of up on a hillside. Our fish farming is located directly below here. A little bit of a residential area with a sell point. We have our traditional dairy below. This map has 27 productions. So I already mentioned we have 5 small gardens. We have a BGA, we have a sawmill, a bakery, 2 dairies, carpentry, spinnery, flour mill, the fuel factory, fish farming, pallet factory, tailor, and lime facility. And then those 9 different apple trees. We have our diesel factory below. We have a wood sell point, grain sell point, and other stuff going on there. We have our sawmill coming down the western side of the map. Another grain sell point below. Over here we have our animal dealer. Then we have an animal dealer sell point on the other side of the building. It's really well done. I just really like how this map is. And I think it's going to really shine and show through during the drive around. Here we have what I'm calling the contractor yard. We have that fancy flour mill. We have slurry and manure storage. I don't know if you can really get a good sense for how the land kind of ebbs and flows at this point, but you'll definitely get a good impression for that once we get in our Mahindra and start driving around. Now, oddly enough, our harvester isn't at the main farm. Our harvester is like halfway between the farm and the vehicle shop, kind of stuck on a hill. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. We have our carpentry. Another fuel point. We have our vehicle shop directly below there. And then over here, we have our harvester. Gonna pull it off the side of the road here, going up the hill and eventually over to our farm. Let's make our way back over here to the vehicle shop. We're going to grab our Mahindra and start driving around and really checking this map out from what I feel is the best level. And that is right down at the roads. So we have our dealer trigger marked out well, so our buy, sell, trade, customize, repair, and repaint. Let's go ahead and pick up that Mahindra. The decent size of our vehicle spawn yard here. Now, the way these fields are set up, we do have a couple rather larger fields, 5 hectares, 7 hectares in size, but the vast majority are going to be 1.5 or less. So, in my opinion, this map is ideal for small machinery, and as such, we've got quite a large spawn area for our machinery to come in at. And kind of accenting that and kind of lending creed to that, we have a rather narrow exit to our vehicle shop. Way down the hill here. Yeah, we'll wind our way back up. First thing we're going to come to is our bakery. So we have an interactive point around the front, pallet and dump point around the back. One thing that we do not see actually showing here is the pallet spawn point. We know where we think it should be, but maybe not so much where it actually is. We have traffic on these narrow roads. Traffic may be something that you want to turn off, or again, kind of lend some credence to using small vehicles and small implements on this very hilly terrain. We have our carpentry, except we are completely on the wrong level in order to get down to that. At least right now we are. Here we go. So our pallet spawn point, our wood dump point, wood cell trigger, and our interactive point. I'm sorry, this isn't our carpentry, this is our pallet factory. So just want to check real quick because I think we're right by one of our trees. No, we're not. Our tree is back here. So let's jump back there real fast. And we'll take a look at one of these apple trees. So this will be one of the apple trees that if you own this area, we'll go ahead and buy it. You have the dump point for your manure and your water. And then we really don't see where the apples are going to spawn. I would assume they're going to spawn in a small crate. But another option is they could potentially spawn in the tree. And you just pull up to a trailer and hit R to load. Got our spinnery over there. Really nice sounds. We have our sound of our tires on the dirt here. Our sound of our tires on the gravel. Here we have cell point. Appears to be a grocery store. Going over here to our spinnery. So very, very, very tight in here. We have our pallet point. We have our interactive point and dump point right around the corner here. Extremely tight. Extremely tight. Really surprised that we didn't have that dump point located somewhere else. really well done houses. So with respect to buildings and ground textures, where appropriate, are using the new texturing technique. I'm going to go with yes. Yes, in general. They are. We're going to give the map a full point there. It's hard not to get lost the way all these roads are kind of winding around. Up and down, different elevation changes. Like I said, I could really see people picking this map up just for the purpose of driving around and seeing things, hearing things, experiencing things. So we have our BGA, the scale on the in and the scale on the out. We have 3 pull-through silage bunkers. And then you're going to have to drive everything down over to here. And then into the BGA dump point. Our dump point for our slurry, our interactive point, our fill point for our digestate. Then we have our scale to weigh ourselves coming out. Now this road is going to take us around to our starting farm. And here we are in our starting farm now. Might as well just cut through and see if we can't get our way over to that Tyrolean dairy. Yeah, I cannot stress enough. This map is 100% small vehicles and implements. If you're going to be trying anything big, you're just going to set yourself up for a very, very hard time. This road is going to take us down to where our harvester is located, and I think we do need to take this. Looks like we're going to be able to then kind of diagonally go up and across to the west. See some of these fields. All these fields are set up here. As far as the fencing goes, I'm going to assume that on the land that you own, you're going to be able to sell the fence. I could sell the fence over at the main farm. Here we have a grain dump point, or a sell point. Here at these 3 greenhouses, but these are not part of the production greenhouses. And here we're going to find our harvester, like I said. Going to pull it off the side of the road. Oh my. Very narrow road to have traffic on. think this is taking me back away. That's not where I want to go. Here we go. Oh my. I don't know what to do now that we're at a virtual interstate. Such wide road here. Let's see, we can see the terrain left and right. Really nice signage. Help us get directions where we need to go. Well, you're gonna need some pretty good horsepower just to drive your grain around to sell it. This is going to double us back to where we have those other 3 greenhouses for sale. They're located right here. And of course, we've already bought those in order to kind of show off the production. If we didn't own those, and they would not kind of have the triggers showing up. This map is really well done. It really gives me that sense that this could be a legitimate place, right? Never been to Austria. Haven't really seen much with respect to you know, what Austria countryside looks like. But yeah, I could believe it. Love to hear from anybody that's either been in Austria or is in Austria, how this map really relates to kind of the authentic Austrian feel. There's a dairy over there. Let's figure out how to get down to that. We have kind of the farmer's market sell point. And then this is going to take us up. The fish farming area. In the fish farming area, we have our spawn point for our fish right there. We have our dump point for our fish feeding, and we have our interactive icon. Like how this has been set up kind of as a very natural little pond or lake area. Then this should take us over to that Tyrolean dairy. It's a little driving in cab to get over there. Get that inside perspective as we wind back and forth. I don't know if these people are parked or they're just car broke down. And here we are. So we have our dump point. There we have our interactive point, out spawn point. Now we gotta get out of here. I feel like I just want to drive straight down the hill. There we are, fish farming. That's going to take us to the map edge. We find a road taking us south. This map is going to play like it's a lot bigger than it really is because of how the road network has been set up. It's going to take a fair bit of time to drive around to just about anything. In fact, the entry to that dairy that I talked about, it's way back here. All right, so you have to take this. And wrong one. The road splits off. All the way finally over to this dairy. We have our interactive point, we have our dump point for our milk, and our pallet pickup. Of course, there's other roads likely leading up into the various forested areas. This road looks like it's a viable option. Get over to that little town area. And here we are. So this is our diesel factory. Our output for fuel or interactive point. We have our dump point. Coming over here to our wood cell area, not our sawmill, our wood cell area. Over here to the right. So if we put our wood right there, our wood cell trigger. It's going to be a grain cell point here around the back of this building. Then we have what looks like a hay, straw, grass cell point there. like the different use of road textures. I think we've seen at least 4 different kind of road textures here. Wish I could read these signs, then I'd have a better idea where things were going, but I know what that is. That's sawmill. So around the back we have our wood chip fill point. All right, we have our interactive point, we have our wood cell trigger, we have our pallet spawn point, all of that here on the side. We continue on down the kind of southwestern area of the map. To the left, we have kind of a grocery area. It's going to be our tailor. We have our sell point for the grocery store. We have fuel. Then we have our contractor yard. Over here to our right, we have that really interesting flour mill. To our left here behind that, pallet spawn point, interactive point, dump point. And then here we have kind of a fill point for bulk filling of product. Kind of the pig food, the stones, some of those other outputs. So we have a maintenance trigger. We're going to have solid fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, and seed storage there. We have a fuel point. Then we have our contractor building. This I'm calling manure and slurry storage. So we have 2 manure heaps and 2 kind of slurry tanks, slurry pits. So you could run the contractor yard and do kind of organic fertilizing operations out of there. We have a wash bay. Our fuel point, we do have a cell point there as well for that diesel fuel that we can produce. I think this will be our last kind of point of interest, point of call for this map. There may be a couple little things that we've missed in the extreme southeast. Now, with respect to our final scoring metric, trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked, I'm going to be going with 3/4 of a point there. There was a few things that were not overly obvious. One of those being the apple trees, kind of where that is. The deal with the organic substrate of the small garden as another point. The lack of pallet spawn trigger for our bakery are all examples of why that is a 1/4 point off. We have our animal dealer, and then we have an animal dealer sell point here around the back. So that's going to be giving the map a score of 4.5 out of 5. Still a very, very respectable score with our scoring metrics, but you know what? Visually, This is an absolute stunning map. Definitely well worth the download just for the fact to drive around and experience this map. And just imagine for yourselves that you're in kind of the mountainous region, the hilly region of Austria. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of this particular map? Is it a map that interests you? Is it a map that you plan on possibly downloading and trying for yourself? See where we are. We can hang a right, then we can hang a left, and make our way over to our carpentry and the lime factory. That is what we really missed. And until next time, happy farming.